You should play Lethal Company. Did you like it, Taylor? I never got your full review. We ended up playing separately. I got on and hated it so much that I got off and uninstalled it.
Oh no, you should reinstall it. It's exactly what we talked about. It's basically this game, and it's kind of like Among Us in that it's not similar to Among Us, but it's like a game where the gameplay isn't really what it's about. It's about like working together and like the silliness and nonsense that happens. But you're basically you and 3 other people. It's supposed to have a max of 4 players, but all my friends that are playing it, we downloaded a mod so you can have up to 32 people on a team. And so we've been playing with like 8-9 people. And you are these space, basically trash men who are on this crappy ship, and you have to fly into these like abandoned planets that have monsters and problems and like quicksand and places to fall and die. And you have to collect your quota of whatever goods you can find. So you might be like, oh, I found a nuclear light. This is really good. This is 80, space units. Oh, I found this plastic piece of like brush or something. That's only worth like 4. And so you and this team, you're going out and you're trying to collect stuff. But the game chat works the way that a lot of others do. Like I think you said Rust is, where
proximity chat.
It's proximity chat. And so you can only hear the people that are close to you. And if you're like in some shitty warehouse, you hear them like echoed, and they echo, more the further they get away, fades. If you're in a canyon, it echoes like that. And you are having to communicate using walkie-talkies, and usually someone stays back at the ship because there's a little module there that tells you where stuff is as your teammates search out. And so you're having to like
shopping. You just go.
You're basically looking. It's not like you're walking around and seeing a bunch of different stuff. Like you might spend 10 minutes.
You're in a maze of a building.
You're in a maze of a building, or you're in a maze of a wildlife, and there's monsters that are like kind of like fucking creepy. Like there's like a torso monster that some of them are pretty spooky, and you have like no defense. The only weapon you can buy, the way you get money in it is like you have to use some of the funds you got from selling stuff. And the way it works is you have to like every 3 days go to the company and put your stuff on this platform and then make it as an offering. And if it's enough, you get to go back and continue with like a now higher quota, but you get to keep the flashlights, the walkie-talkies that you still have. Whereas in the beginning, like the first run, you really don't have any walkie-talkies. You don't have any flashlights. You just have to go out there and look.
Let me ask you this.
And the more people that die, every death attributes a penalty to your quota. So if like everybody goes out and dies, it's not just like, oh, we had a bad run. It's like, no, you're going to lose fucking everything. And so if someone dies and you hear them, and the way it goes, it's funny. It's like me and my buddy, Tyler are running around. He's like, there's a monster over here. And it's like, oh, he got him. Someone got Tyler. Should I wander in? I need to get his body because we're really close to quota and we can get 5 points for his body if I can retrieve it. But if we don't retrieve it, then we lose 20% of our total take because we lost a body. And so you're in there trying to pull it out and recover. It's a silly game, but it's really fucking fun. Like it's a silly, fun game. It's fun to hear someone like on the walkie-talkie be like, copy. There's bottles here. Just found some bottle. All right, there's a noise. And then they like scream and freak out, and then it cuts off because they're being chased. And it gets your heart pumping because the monsters are so poorly rendered and ridiculous that they're almost spooky. Like it's a fun game. You should try it again.
There's a monster that records your voice and then plays it back to your teammates.
Oh, yeah, Predator.
Yep.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I didn't get to the part where there's fun. I couldn't figure out what was supposed to be fun.
How
far
did you get into
the monsters?
You can kill the monsters. You just have to have a shovel to hit them with, and you're not going to win most fights.
That really and so that means that it's like it's not a fighty game; it's a survival game, and I don't like that. I want to kill the monsters. It seems what I'm getting at is if at no point we're going to get so much junk collected that we're badasses, and now the tables have turned monsters. That's what I need to grind towards. Otherwise, it seems like I'm like, oh, look, I got a flashlight on my head now so I can find more junk. And now my quota is higher. And now I've got a radio so I can find more junk. And it's like, I don't want to find junk. Finding the junk wasn't fun. It was like 3 games in and me and Scum just stayed in the ship. And I don't mean to operate a module. We just didn't want to go. We just let them
want to
go
look
in.
around.
We don't want to play anymore.
If you don't like it, you don't like it. But like,
I'd give it another shot.
It is, yeah. You should give it a shot. Me and my buddies are playing. I might play tonight after this if they're still on. It seems so simple and easy, but it can go off the rails so rapidly. It's on PC. Steam. Yeah, Steam.
Shit.
And so it doesn't take like anything to run. It's super, light. It's like one of the aesthetically, it's offensively ugly. This game.
Yes.
Like it's really ugly, but it's fun to like be in the ship with your boys and like make fun of people who died in stupid ways. There are like jumps, like a platformer that they make. Like in every building, there's one area where like you have to jump off of this onto like a I-beam and then crawl across it, get somewhere else. And it will randomly make the jump harder or easier. And I have died so many times, like just because I'll jump across, kill myself, and then I can hear everybody making fun of me. Or other times you're like, I'm walking with a big group and I'm like, hey, there's stuff over here. And then like I get killed by one of those head monsters that attacks and kills me. And then I'm watching, spectating. I can't talk to him anymore, obviously. And I hear like my buddies going the wrong direction where they're like, maybe one of those monsters takes my voice and is now saying it from a different direction. They're like, Taylor's still alive. He's over here. But it's not. It's a monster luring them to get them out.
See, I like games where like me and you go in, we're like, hey, what kind of clothes you got? Nice. You got a shotgun? Good. I got a fucking sniper rifle. All right. Let's try to stay alive and try to kill those guys so that we can take their shit, and then we'll have more shit next time we play. We'll stash this back at our house. Any game that gives me that mechanic, like Rust, Tarkov, any extraction shooter, I guess. To some extent, Dark and Darker, which I keep trying to get into, but I'm just so dog shit at that I can't play. Dark and Darker is basically Dungeons and Dragons, except you go in with your. If you go when you get killed by other players, if they take your shit, they take it out, and now they've got your shit, and they can sell it to buy better shit. So the longer you play, the more money you make, and now you're a wizard with a fancier hat and a bigger like.
Well, that's just a way more in-depth game than this. Like if you're looking for that. You won't get it here, but like you won't get the chance to accumulate lots of stuff. Like getting a radio is expensive. And so it's not like second game. Oh, everybody has a radio now. Everybody has a flashlight now. Great. It's like the first game. It's like, all right, we have $40 and flashlights are 15 and radios are 12. There's 7 of us. Let's try and keep like a team going here. All right, we'll get a couple of radios. And then if anyone who's holding something dies, that's removed from your team. So like, unless they remember to pick it up and you don't have a huge amount of carrying capacity. And so you're constantly losing shit. Like one game you might be teched out with, and teched out is effectively a walkie-talkie and a flashlight. And then you die. No one brings your body back or picks your shit up. And now you're potentially in the hole for the next one. Like you're always battling the quota, and it's much harder than you would think. And then if you lose and you die, they just take you out and they eject you into space and you lose the game.
I want you to play one of my favorite games with me sometime, and that's Rust.
Rust?
We're going to play some Rust We're playing Rust this week. Nothing is required of you. Just log in and like look around and goof around. You don't need to be good at anything. You can just wander the world of Rust and experience it.
I bought Rust a while ago. I will download it, put it on my PC. We'll play some. And if you change your mind on this game, let me know, because we've been having a good time.
Here's the problem. Here's why it wasn't fun. I already know why it wasn't fun. I was playing with people who are like already knew how to play the game, so nothing was being explained. They just kept piling the junk up, and I didn't want to play anymore. That was part of it. But also, I don't know which part of the gameplay loop I'm ever going to like, but I will give it some more fun because the interaction is obviously the whole point of the game.
A lot of it's just like fucking goofing off. Like I didn't know. No one in our group told me that quicksand was even part of the game. But if you walk into quicksand, like your guy gets stuck and then you drown to death. And so like
pretty funny.
6 of our 7 party all like jumped off the front of the ship to try and get an early run into a run. All 6 of us drowned to death. And so it was like, oh fuck, like we're definitely going to lose now.
People build bases in Rust that are like, imagine an octagon that goes up for like 10 stories. Each story has horse stalls in them with the asses pointed inward. So you've got like, so they're all shitting out and it's falling down to the bottom where they're collecting it and mass producing fertilizer to sell. Like that's just one of the businesses that people build in Rust to finance like the way that they buy guns and ammo and shit. They'll trade it. I think you might be able to make explosives.
I'm a fertilizer
with it.
man.
I saw the base today, and like back when I haven't played in a couple
that
years.
Sounds way better than your game, Taylor. I'm
a horse shit farmer.
My game does sound pretty fucking gay now. Yeah, Mario. You're playing fucking Mario. We're playing poo games and trash collector. That's what you got to be doing as a true gamer or true gamesman.
I like when I lose, I want to feel bad, like genuinely upset a little bit. And when I win, I want not only to feel pretty good about it, but I want them to hurt. I want when they log on, if I've killed them and taken all their shit, I want to be like, fuck, man, my day's different now because somebody came. I want to do that to them when you kill them in the game. And there's a few games that do that. And those are always my favorites.
The only game I like that does that is Age of Empires 2. Like I like fucking up somebody's base that they spent a long time on. That's fun. But other than that, I like the quick turnaround games. Just like Call of Duty. I don't even like Call of Duty, but that style. Like, but that game went shitty. 2 minutes from now, we'll be in a new one.
So, Dick, Rust is this survival game where you start out with a rock, but you compete with everybody else to get to the point where you're like running around with AKs and armor and night vision and shit, and you build a base that stays there for days of real world time. You're playing this game continuously, and when people go to sleep because they got school and jobs and shit, me and my boys wake up at 4 a.m. and you see everybody ba-bloom, 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 logging on at 4 fucking a.m. And we go and we blow one of the walls off their base, jump in their shit that they've been grinding for all week, and just kill them. We get what's called building permission, which means now we can build in this structure. We repair the wall we made, and we actually turn it into a door that only we have a key to. So now there used to be a wall here. Now there's a door that's not even their door that leads in. And now we're in there with their sleeping bodies. It's like, there he is, the mother. And you see their name above their head. And Rust is a game where you bump into these guys all day long. You start off with bows and arrows fighting over deer. And then you're like maybe a semi-automatic rifle and a shotgun, like hiding outside of his door. He comes out of his house. You shoot him in the ass, steal all his shit, disappear into the woods. He sees your name every time. You build this animosity. And there's void in game. So they show up and they don't hold back. This is a game where people decorate their bases with swastikas and the N-word. Like there's no holds barred. So people so when you show up in the middle of the night at 4 a.m. and take all their shit, it feels good. Because now they can't play anymore when you take their base away. Now they got to start from scratch. They got to go back to hitting trees. You know,
this is way better than Mario that I've been playing.
Yeah, I'll play if I can be head of base design. We're gonna have a lot of confusing ideologies.
Swastikas. What do you guys think of that? Well, it's going the wrong way.
It's gonna have a big swastika with just the thinnest, smallest bad pointed at it. giant swastika.
Very thin red line right through.
Yeah, just the imperceptible except for the right angle. Yeah.
Your mic's coming in and out like a networky thing.
Mine is
Taylor's.
Yeah, it sounds robot-y, right?
Not for me.
No.
Oh no!
There's
is this a sign of things to come? Am I still sounding robot-y to you?
No.
Maybe I've had nobody hears it but me, so it's on my end. Don't worry about it.
Zach says no, sir. Okay, we're good.
Good.
Oh, I just noticed your
Vampire Survivor big time a couple months ago, maybe over the summer. Where I don't know, have you guys ever played that Vampire Survivor?
I haven't heard of it. What is it?
You're like a little guy and you pick a weapon and then you can upgrade your weapons, which is like my favorite part of any game.
Mm-hmm.
And you can upgrade them in like paths so the weapons combine. And then eventually you're it's like Gauntlet. You remember the old Nintendo game Gauntlet where you're one guy walking around, there's just people coming at you constantly. So you got to upgrade your shit faster than they're coming at you. But the best part was every game only lasted a half hour. So I could sit down and go like, all right, half hour, I'll be done. I'm going to go do stuff. But then I'd still be there 7 hours later.
On your 14th game.
Uh-huh.
Is it like a first person shooter?
No, it looks like it's from the 80s. It looks like total shit. It's all pixely. I don't think I can understand games that have, when the graphics are too good, I kind of lose track of what's happening.
When did that happen for you? What was the game that you're like, I'm out?
One of the Call of Duties. I remember, or maybe Gears of War 2, Gears of War 1 or 2. I remember sitting down with my brother-in-law going, I feel like a child looking at this, or like a woman trying to play this game, and I don't think I can catch up.
That
was a hard game to play. I always suffered so much at the PvP in the Gears games. Like I couldn't snipe people. I couldn't perfect the roll and shotgun people. I'd wound them. They'd roll into me and like one tap me, and my body would come apart. They pop my head from so far. They just fucking roll at. It's that hand-eye coordination of just putting that tiny little reticle. You doing a mouse, but it was console. Like I couldn't do it. It was like Halo either. I couldn't snipe in that game either.
I have a fun as shit game that we rarely play. My girlfriend bought it. She won't play it. It's a horror survival game in VR. So you put the goggles on and you have like a belt. But if you need to reload your gun or change anything, you have to do it correctly. Like you have to put your hand down, holster the gun, get the axe out, and then swing as the zombies are coming around. And you're kind of in like a old style like concentration camp almost. Like all the walls are wooden and there's spikes and all this scary shit happening.
They made Nazi zombies for VR. It sounds like. Yeah.
It's terrifying though, because you'll hear them coming, but you can only see where you're looking with your actual head in real life, and you can duck and peek and stuff. But it's a fun game.
Have you guys ever seen the Gears of War character designer?
No.
I just had to try and find one on Twitter. This guy, people were like, "Oh, these are the most unrealistic character designs ever. Who designed this beefcake character?" And
Can you show this guy's
put a picture up.
Holy shit!
Yeah, that's the guy who designed the Gears of War characters.
Dude, the Gears of War characters were my go-to for like unrealistic body standards for boys. So many girls have said, "Oh my god, there isn't anyone on earth who looks like Barbie." All these women on movies, this, that, the other thing. That's an unachievable thing. You're making girls feel bad. Meanwhile, I'm playing Gears of War, and there isn't a human who's ever lived who looks like those guys.
Other than the designer. Yeah.
The designer.
Yeah, that guy's shredded. I remember I never played Gears of War really, because I played once at a friend's house and it was very hard, and I was like, this isn't for me. I'm a COD boy. Yeah,
story's so good.
I've heard the story is really good, but it is so different.
Helps out.
Third person shooters are so much more difficult than first person for me. It's just weirder, and I also don't like it as much. I like it like some people play Skyrim in third person. Like I have no idea why you wouldn't just be in the first person
back and forth
position.
I really enjoy going back and forth. Although when I play like DayZ or PUBG or games like that, I always like to play that in first person. I feel like people corner cheat. Anything where it's PvP, it's no good because we're both going to be behind the wall looking at the corner where we expose and just like elbow peeking each other and fucking around. And like people will sit there and wait in ambush with full view of the whole scene, and they know just when to and just I don't like that. I don't like
they
that
should
kind of
shut that down. That doesn't seem fair.
A game called Scum found a way to do that. They made it so that what was displayed from third person view was represented by how much by what your eyes could see. So they would fade out details, and especially players. It would be kind of blurry what was out there, and they wouldn't. If a player was there and you put your eye behind the wall, I think he blurs out. I'm pretty sure that's how Scum works, but that's been 5-6 years ago since I played that shit.
Yeah,
Scum's the game where you get diarrhea if you eat the wrong food, though. It's a pretty in-depth game.
You play all these games where you have to count your fucking macros. I don't want to play that. I don't want to be doing math and doing a bunch of horse shit and being like, "Oh my god, I have diarrhea. My vitamin D must be low."
Here's the thing. But here's the thing though. Once you know how to get your vitamins up and eat your kibble and everything, and you get to turn that knowledge on the noobs, you're like, look at him. You can hear him shivering. Oh, listen. Got the flu. That little bitch. I bet he'd do anything for some vitamins. Hey, boy. You can have some fun, because everybody's weak and sick and hungry. Tarkov's like that to some extent. It's not so extreme on the eating and drinking, but it's there. You don't get diarrhea, at least.